Ganga Radha Sham Sundar Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Kula Churamani Sava Shastra Siddhanta Vit Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pravistam Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanu Gurubhagya Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Samadeta Vaishnava Mandali Ki Jai. Kol Kartel Ki Jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Alright, So welcome everyone to our Sunday afternoon meeting, talk. First one of the new year. Everyone good? See you all. All right, so. Yeah, you've done. Okay. So we're broadcasting live from Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, East London branch, our usual Sunday afternoon talk, and we are discussing the books which have been taken from the recordings of our Guru Maharaj, founder Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. We've been going systematically through one by one. At the moment we're on the Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 2. And those are talks of Srila Sridhar Maharaj between 1981 and 1988. Wish everyone a happy new year. So this is chapter 6, titled Perspectives on the Absolute. So someone asking Guru Maharaj a question. The conditioned soul has some attraction to Lord Shiva in Mahesh Dham. What is Lord Shiva's position? Srila Sridhar Maharaj's reply. His position is a master of this Maya, illusory potency. He is not a slave of misunderstanding, although he remains in the relativity of misunderstanding. He remains in a masterly position. In his Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Srila Sanatana Goswami has explained that when one becomes liberated, Maya Devi comes to him saying, "Why do you leave me? I would like to serve you, don't forsake me." In this way she again comes to offer her service to Shiva, that is, the liberated soul. If he is enticed by that charm, he may again enter the mundane world. But if he has the attitude and shraddha within himself to deal indifferently, he neglects it and goes upwards. No, I have my engagement, my duty. I have no time to satisfy anyone by accepting their service. I have my Lord. I must serve him. Shwadharma nistashratha jamad bhipumam. Virinchitam eti tapta param himam. Ayakritam bhagavatota Vaishnavanam padam jataham vibudha kalatayaye. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Here, Mahadev, Lord Shiva, says that if one can perform his duty in Varnashram Dharma, godly socio-religious functions for 100 consecutive births, he attains the position of Lord Brahma. Shwadharma means prescribed duties according to the Varnashram Dharma, as sanctioned in the Vedas. This verse was quoted by Ramananda Rai to Mahaprabhu in the beginning of the Ramananda Samvad. If one can perform Varnashram perfectly for 100 births, he can attain the position of Lord Brahma. And Srila Acharya Maharaj, he made a joke once. He said, if you perform Varnashram imperfectly for 100 births, you become the manager of a temple. Jata pravritir bhutanam jaina sarvam idam tatam. Swakar mana tan abarcha siddhim vindati manabha. This is also in Srimad Bhagavatam. Etavan sankhya yogbhyam shwadharma parinistaya janma labha para purusham ante narayana smriti. Sankhya means gyan, enlightenment by knowledge, and renunciation up to Brahman. Yoga means Astanga Yoga, yoga meditation on Paramatma, headed by the Eightfold System. And Swadharma Nishta means Nishkarma Karma Yoga, unselfish duty in Varnashram. Etavan means they can lead us so far, that is, up to liberation. Then Janma Labha Param Purusham Ante Narayana Smriti. Then we must attain the fulfillment of our life in the service of Narayan through Shraddha from a guru. This is the positive attainment. Like a visa, and the first 3 classes are comparable to a passport. The yoga system, progressing towards the conception of Paramatma, Varnashram Dharma, or executing our duties in this world, because the Vedas have recommended this for our good. But at the same time, we must not want anything in return, nishkama. And also Sankhya Gyan, the process of neti, or this is not, nai iti. This is all gross, this is all gross, this is all gross. I am soul, I am consciousness, I am spirit. This process of elimination. Perfection in one of these 3 methods may be compared to gaining a passport, but Janma Labha, the real fulfillment of life, is Ante Narayana Smriti, the memory or consciousness of Narayan after death. Narayan consciousness, Krishna consciousness, can give us proper fulfillment, and that is the visa to the Sharup Shakti realm, the plane of Krishna's divine potency. Is this clear? The devotee says, yes, but sometimes it is said that Mahesh Dham is spiritual. It seems to be more like a marginal plane. Guru Maharaj's reply, it is spiritual. Mahesh Dham is of 2 kinds. First, in the relativity of Maya, and secondly, Shiva exists as Sada Shiva, the devotee Shiva. He may be entangled as a grihasta, but he can conceive that he has his superior position in a superior realm, and he holds the lowest position in that sphere. So, as I quoted, one who can successfully discharge his duty in the Varnashram system for 100 lifetimes attains to the position of Lord Brahma, who is the leader of the whole Varnashram system in this world. Then Mahadev says, Tapta Paramahimam. After this, if he can continue in this way, he progresses even further. He comes to my position. In the relativity of this universe, Lord Brahma is the creator and manager. His position is somewhat like a prime minister, but Lord Shiva's position is like that of a king. He can even dismiss the prime minister and dissolve the parliament. His position is higher, but he describes himself as avakyatam. I have some limitation. I am a little indifferent. Avyakritam means not well specified or sometimes non-differentiated, with tyag or vairagya. Thus he says renunciation and abnegation are found to be predominant in me. Then above me there is another realm which is inhabited by the Bhagavat, the followers of Bhagavan. It is they who attain to Vaishnava Pada, or the plane of Vaikuntha. Yattaham Vibuddha Kalatyaye. And when the universal dissolution is ordered, at that time I and other ruling demigods can also get release and join them. Everyone may have the chance if they move properly. O gods, this is the situation. Mahadev said this, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. We must reach an ontological conception of what is what, the measure of exploitation, renunciation, and devotion. Devotion is divided into scriptural devotion and loving devotion. In this world, exploitation may be regulated work, karma, and uncivilized or non-regulated work, bikarma. Then there is Gyan, Yoga, Sankhya, Vedanta, and so on. Brahma has his peculiar position. Then there is Shiva as the master of Maya, and Shiva as the servant of Vishnu Narayan. Above that is Vaikuntha, and then Goloka. One should have some conception, as with consulting a map. Here is America, here is Australia, here is Japan, east, west, etc. If traveling by ship, a map and so many references show the path. Also, practical knowledge is more reliable than theoretical emblems. Yes, this beacon and landmark verify that we have reached the Indian Ocean. Practical application is superior to mere theory. Shabbe para janishtatam. A guru of theoretical knowledge cannot help us. One who has practical experience of the way is reliable and able to save us and give us the real position. Then the devotee asks, does a jiva attain the position of Shiva? Guru Maharaj, yes, he can be Shiva. When he is out of the clutches of Maya, and the Vaikuntha devotee is more than Shiva. When a spiritual molecule is free from the clutches of the exploitation tendency, he is known as Shiva. Pasha Badho Badvej Jiva Pashu Mukta Sada Shiva. When he is entangled, he is Jiva, and when he is free, he is Shiva, Shivaham. But Krishna said, when giving his blessing to Uddhava, Nataha me priyatama atma joni na shankara nacha shankarshano na shrir naivadmacha jatabhavam. Neither Brahma nor Shiva are as dear to me as you. My elder brother Sankarshan is not as dear to me as you, nor even Lakshmi Devi. Even my own self is not as dear to me as you are, Uddhava. Such is the position of a devotee, a bhakta. He's above Brahma, he's above Shiva, he's above Sankarshan, he's above Lakshmi, he's above Krishna himself, by the free, sweet will of Krishna. Aham bhakta paradina. This is running in the current of love, not of justice through affection. As in India, in the physical sense, or in the sense of law, we find that the husband is the master of the wife. But it may be that through affection, the wife is the guide of the husband. Through affection it is possible. This is another line of love, and no matter of right. So when the Lord says, you are more than my own self, it is not a false statement. My devotee is dearer to me than myself. If any danger comes to him, I must stand in front. First finish me, and then you try to touch my son. my devotee. This is the attitude of the Lord. If any danger comes to the son, the father will come forth. Oh no, first finish me, then try to harm my son. It is the way of affection, and that is our solace. So Mahaprabhu says, O Jiva, take that direction. Try to purchase a ticket to that department. Go through Shraddha, faith and devotion, and you will be a real gainer. Further, Uddhava says about the gopis, I aspire to be a creeper or a shrub in Vrindavan, so that I may have the feet dust of these divine damsels on my head. In his magnanimity, Mahaprabhu offered such great things to us. He is none other than Krishna, because no one can give such a right to anyone and everyone without being Krishna himself. Therefore the devotees say that he is none other than Krishna himself, and more, Radha and Krishna combined, because he gives the highest wealth of both. Only both combined as Dayal Gauranga are entitled to give this chance to the ordinary soul. This is inconceivable. Anarpita chirim chirat karune avatana kalo. Sri Gauranga descended in this Kali Yuga to give what had never been given before. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, what a great loss I am incurring, neglecting this chance. To whom should I tell, and who will believe that I am consciously missing such a great chance? Who should I tell about my disastrous misfortune? Durlabha manava janma, labhiya sangsare, Krishna na bhajiya dukha, kahiba kahare. To whom shall I divulge my heart? Who will care to give me an audience? Such a great chance I am trampling under my feet. I have attained this human birth, and I have just come into the vicinity of the greatest fortune, and yet I neglect it. So the devotee asks, we have heard that the 9 islands of Navadvip represent the 9 fundamental processes of devotional service. Srila Sridhar Maharaj replies, the holy Sri Navadvip Dham is envisioned as a lotus flower. The center of the lotus is the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, and it represents Atmanivedanam, or self-surrender. One has to first surrender, and then all the practices of devotion follow. The petals of the lotus represent Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, and Dasyam. Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, worship, prayer, and servitorship. Sakyam, friendship, is situated half on one side of the Ganges and half on the other. In this way, the 9 islands of Navadvip are represented as a lotus flower, embodying the 9 standard practices of devotion. And someone asks, it is said that Krishna appears once in a day of Brahma. How often does Mahaprabhu appear? Srila Guru Maharaj replies, although every Kali Yuga he appears to spread Nama Sankirtan, and every Dwapara Yuga Krishna has come, those are partial representatives. Those are partial representations, and not Swayam Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord in person. The Juga avatar, or descents for certain ages, are not Swayam Bhagwan. Swayam Bhagwan comes only once in the day of Brahma, and so Mahaprabhu as Radha and Govinda combined, Radha Govinda Milita Tanu, also appears only once in the day of Brahma, in Navadvip. In other Dwapara and Kali Yugas, ordinary Krishna avatar and Gora avatar appear, only to preach general worship, paricharya, and general Nama Sankirtan, as mentioned in the Bhagavatam, Dwapare paricharjayam kalo tad hari kirtana. Then someone asked, Maharaj, I have a question. In the Navadvip Bhava Taranga by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he seems to be having actual visions of pastimes of the Lord on the various islands of Navadvip. Yet he writes in such a way that he also seems to be aspiring for those visions. Is he actually having those visions? Srila Guru Maharaj's reply, yes, of course. His vision is inspired. The Dharma has inspired these two perspectives in him. The Dharma allows us to see it according to the degree of our devotion. A doctor sees a patient according to his capacity. Higher intelligence can see deeper. Such is the case always. A higher politician can see a higher strategy, and so on. Ya nishe sarvabhutanam tasya jagati sanjami. Jasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. Bhagavad Gita. The detached self-realized soul remains awake in the night of all beings, and the world of exploitation that all beings awaken in is similarly his night. A detector can see the depth afforded by its capacity. The X-ray can detect a certain depth. The microscope has another dimension of utility. There is revelation according to one's capacity, deserve and have. Malanam asanerninam naravaraha strinam smaro murtinam gopanam swajano shatam kiti bhujan shashta svapitro shishu mrityu bhojapater birad abhidasham tatam param yoginam brishninam paradevati vidito rangam gate sagraja. From Srimad Bhagavatam. O King, Sri Krishna then appeared as a thunderbolt to the wrestlers, as the supreme male to the men, as Cupid incarnate to the ladies, as a friend to the cowherd men, an emperor to the wicked kings, as a child to his father and mother Devaki, as death to Kamsa, as the universal form to the world, to the ignorant, as the supreme truth to the yogis, as the supreme worshipable Lord to the Brishnis, and along with Balaram, he entered the arena. When Krishna entered the arena, all the different categories of persons had different perspectives of him, according to their inner eye. Experience of the truth must vary according to different attitudes or degrees of consciousness, and this is applicable everywhere. And someone asks, sometimes when traveling we keep our japamala beads with us and chant quietly. Is this proper? Srila Guru Maharaj's reply, yes, you may do so, there is no fault. Others may inquire, why are you doing that? What makes you chant this name? But if you are afraid that you won't be able to give them a proper explanation, you may chant within. Still, of course, you may say, I have such faith, and so I am doing this. Through the medium of sound, I can go to the truth. Sound is the medium utilized everywhere for every case. And here also, why shouldn't sound be the medium? Through the medium of sound, my mind wants to reach the plane of origin of the sound vibration. The one who must reach the origin is more subtle than the sound. Sound in the ordinary sense is a very gross thing compared to the Atma, the soul. But this sound is Vaikuntha Shabda, which is far more subtle than ordinary sound. It possesses more efficacy and my sound is a gross thing in comparison to it. When it touches my ear, I can find it is very subtle, and I am gross, considering myself a bundle of material things around the spiritual existence. When the body will no longer exist, that sound will continue. It is undying. Its origin is Goloka Vrindavan, the finest plane ever known to the world, the finest of the finest planes ever known. We know of an electrical plane, an ethereal plane, but there is finer and finer. So the finest element ever known to the world is the layer of beauty and sweetness and love. This is the most original conception of existence and ever known to any consciousness. That is universal. And love means sacrifice. If they know the real meaning of love, none can say, I don't want it. Anyone may say, I don't want power. I may misuse it. To be in possession of power is a great responsibility. Love is also a responsibility, but it is unavoidable. We must love. From the higher shelter in the loving lap, in the loving consideration. We want to enter a domain where everyone will love us, a home. Home is sweet. Why? Because everyone there has some attraction and love, some blessing over us. Home is so sweet, all favorable, all loving, all trustworthy. So we want to go back to home. Home, sweet, sweet home. Swarupe sabara hoya golo geti stiti. Muktir hitvan jata rupam swarupena vivastiti. Mukti is self-determination, the stage of self-determination. As much as ourself can determine our utmost interest, that is home, that is Goloka, and that is the plane of Krishna. The most attractive sound is the sound of his flute. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a description. Rudham ambu labritas chamatkriti param kurvam muhus tumburum dhyanad antarjam sanandan mukam vishmapayan vedasam otsuka valibir balim chaktulayan bogindra agunayam bindamanda kata vitim abita bhabrama banksi dwani. Arresting the movement of the clouds, astonishing the Gandharvas headed by Tumburu, and breaking the meditation of the sages headed by Shananda, astonishing the heart of Lord Brahma, distracting the mind of the indomitable Baliraj with intense ecstasies, reeling the head of Ananta, the serpent king, who supports the earth planet, and piercing the covering of the universe, the vibration of Krishna's flute wandered all around. The sound of Krishna's flute began to reverberate. When that sound entered the ear of Brahma, he became bewildered. Oh, what can this mean? And from where is it coming? What is this? It's puzzling me. Then the infinite Ananta Dev, who keeps unlimited universes on his lap, his head began to reel. The total force who supports all these Brahmandas, so many lustrous masses, the intense vibration causing even his head to reel. It attracts the heart of Radharani, and the shakas, friends, and the cows are also with their ears perked up, inquiring, in which direction are we wanted to go? So that's the end of this chapter. Does anyone have a question or something from that? Ramani? Question? We'll move on to the next chapter. Yes?
Just wondering, could you go through Lord Shiva's position again? Because there's the Shiva representation of Godhead, and then Lord Shiva, the Jiva's perfected state.
Yeah, so Lord Shiva has two aspects, Rudra and Sadashiva. So Rudra is his aspect here in the material world. He is the master of Maya. But you may see sometimes, especially in Bengal, you see Lord Shiva lying down and Mother Kali standing on his chest. I'm sure you've all seen that, right? So this is emblematic of the Jiva. Lord Shiva represents the Jiva being subdued by Maya. So the Lord Shiva's actual position is as the master of Maya, but in this formation, he's showing himself as being subservient to Maya. She's standing on his chest with many arms and a long tongue and like this. So there he's representing the Bada Jiva, us. So that in that respect, he is Rudra. And Rudra, he has some duty in the material world. He's the destroyer, and also Bhutanath, and so many different aspects he has to deal with here in the material world. He's the Tamaguna avatar, the avatar of the Tamagun. But he is not himself affected by Tamagun. He's the master of the Tamagun, but there he is his residence. So that is Rudra Shiva. But when Shiva, as Guru Maharaj explained, Maheshtam is between the material universe and the spiritual universe. So half in the material universe, half in the spiritual universe. In that side, the material side, he is Rudra Shiva. Then when he crosses that side to the spiritual side, that's Sadashiva. And Sadashiva is considered to be same as Mahavishnu. So they're considered to be the same. Some difference, but their position is considered to be similar. And in Brahma Samhita it's explained there that Lord Shiva, he's like the transformation of milk into yogurt. So once, you cannot say that yogurt isn't milk. Yogurt is milk, but it can never again become milk. Understand? So we cannot say that Lord Shiva is not Bhagavan, that he is not God. He is, but in a transformed state. Because Mahavishnu, the Bhagavan, he does not consort directly with Maya. So it's again in Brahma Samhita, it's explained that he's the cause of the impregnation of all living beings in the material world. So when Mahavishnu wishes to carry out that function, he glances upon the material world or on the Maya Devi. And that glance is transformed into Rudra Shiva. And Rudra Shiva becomes the consort of Maya, but as the master of Maya. But in the spiritual side, then he's Sadashiva. And Sadashiva, it means completely pure. There's no tinge of anything of this material world represented in him. There he is residing in the spiritual realm. And more than that, in Vrindavan, he takes the form of a gopi in Vrindavan, Gopeshwar Shiva, and he, first of all, he's the protector of the Dham, the spiritual protector of the Dham, and also takes the form of a gopi to engage in Leela with Krishna in that way. But sometimes, particularly in South India, there's much conflict between the Vaishnavas and the Shivites. In fact, in South India, the Vaishnavas, they say, if you're being pursued by a tiger and the only escape is to enter into the temple of Shiva, better to enter in the mouth of the tiger. They say like that. But we don't think like that, because in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Shiva is described Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu. Then he is the greatest of the Vaishnavas. And of course, there's some controversy about the superiority of one of the other, which is superior, Vishnu or Mahadev. But we can understand by logic very carefully, very easily, that in Maheshdam, Shiva is always searching, and he's chanting Ram Nam on Mala. He's chanting Ram Nam, meditating on the Lord. So this, first of all, we can understand that he's aspiring to be Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu. He's aspiring for that position, searching for Krishna. So that's first thing. And the other thing is where he takes the water of the Ganges on his head when it descends to the earth, so that it won't destroy the earth. He takes that water on his head, and that water is the water that emanates from the feet of Mahavishnu. So by accepting that water on his head, he takes a subservient position to Mahavishnu. So sometimes even he's fighting with Vishnu and fighting. There are many instances of that. That is, he becomes sometimes a little ashamed of that. But his position is unique position. Guru Maharaj said 4 tattvas that you cannot understand by your intellect. And one is Nam tattva, how the name of Krishna and Krishna are the same. That's very difficult to understand by the intelligence. And Dham tattva, how the Dham, like Vrindavan, Navadvip, how they can actually be simultaneously the spiritual world, but exist here in this material world. Dham tattva, Nam tattva, and Guru tattva. Guru tattva, how Krishna can appear as a person and give himself to the world. Acharjamam vidyanayat, navaman yeta karhichit. Krishna says to Uddhava, I am the Acharya, and that divine flow coming through me, all godly nature are within the Guru. Never think of him as an ordinary person. But how we can understand that with our intellect, we can't fully understand that. And then the 4th is Shiva Tattva. How Lord Shiva is and who he is and what is his position, because his position is unique position. It is told in the scripture that every jiva soul has 50 transcendental qualities, spiritual qualities. And Lord Shiva, 55 qualities, with 5 more qualities not found in the ordinary jiva souls. And then Narayan, 60 qualities, 60 transcendental qualities. And Krishna, 64 qualities. 4 qualities found in Krishna, not found in Narayan. That is, and they are all Madhura qualities. Madhura means Venu Madhura, that Krishna has a very sweet flute. Rupa Madhura, that his form is very sweet, in the threefold bending posture, with his eyes blooming like lotus petals. And he's so beautiful that even Mahavishnu makes arrangement that Krishna and Arjuna will come to see him by kidnapping the Brahmin sons at the time of their birth. Then That's only that so that Krishna and Arjuna, he wants to have darshan of Krishna. Vishnu wants darshan of Krishna because Krishna is so beautiful. That's Rupa Madhuri and Leela Madhuri. Very sweet pastimes of Krishna. Narayan in Vaikuntha, his pastimes, they are transcendental, but they are Aishwarja. Everything is Aishwarja, means majesty. So Vishnu means God Almighty. And that is going on in that way. But Krishna's Leela, very simple forest life, family life of God, you can say. Where Krishna playing with his boyfriends and girlfriends and tending the cows and everything in a very sweet way, sweet village environment, all of these things. Not found in Vaikuntha. And finally, the fourth one is Parikara Madhuri. That means very sweet friends. All of his friends are very sweet. And they do not know. They do not know that Krishna is Bhagavan. They don't care to know that. They only know Krishna is their most beloved. So when they see Krishna, they fight, they wrestle with him. They share their food with him. All these things which would in Vaikuntha would be punishable if you approach the Lord in this way. But in Vrindavan, they're encouraged. Those things are encouraged. So this is some gradation. So Lord Shiva's position is there. And he is always very much connected with Krishna and Krishna consciousness.
We have a Sadashiva in the Navadip, so
yes.
He's guarding the Navadip.
This was Gurudev's
Yeah.
special relationship with Mahadev, because there was the Bururaj Shiv. He told Gurudev's father, Nitai Pad, his father's name is Nitai Pad. He told him, he is my son, my own son. And so we understand Srila Gurudev to be the son of Lord Shiva. And he said, so much auspicious things in my life because of that relationship with Lord Shiva. When he was just a babe in his mother's arms, her name is Tarangani Didi, and she was walking in the jungle, and that time there were still tigers in Bengal, and suddenly she came face to face with the tiger. Then with the babe in her arms, she said, "This is the son of Lord Shiva, what will you do?" And then the tiger bowed his head before her and went away. And many things. When Guru Maharaj was very ill, and Gurudev prayed to Lord Shiva, "You please give some medicine for Guru Maharaj." And Lord Shiva told that medicine, not just once, but twice, told him the sound from the ether came, Prakash, to give this medicine. And everyone thought Guru Maharaj is dying. When the doctor came, no pulse, nothing. He can't find any pulse. Now Guru Maharaj will leave the world. But when they phoned Govinda Maharaj in Calcutta, and he told, "No, give this medicine. Lord Shiva has told this medicine. Give this medicine." And when he came later, that he said about midnight, and Guru Maharaj is sitting in his chair taking prasadam. And I said, "What happened, Maharaj? You told, I heard from Haricharan that you had no pulse, that you were fading." And he said, "Yes, it's true. But then he told me Govinda Maharaj is telling, give this medicine." They gave that medicine, now you see the result. So, we like this idea, Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu. And
Advaita Acharya is also...
He's considered to be avatar of Mahadev. And sometimes Mahadev, sometimes Mahavishnu. But in the Sadashiv and Mahavishnu considered to be the same but different. That is inconceivable by the intellect, how that is so. In Thailand, sometimes you see they wear a t-shirt. It says same, but different. So it was like that. I saw that. I thought, oh yeah, that is our whole philosophy. Achinta Veda Abed. Same but different.
Also, in Gurudev's book I read, Sadashiv is in a parenthood, kind of parenthood of Krishna.
Vatsalya Rasa, yeah, protector.
He came to see Krishna that time,
Yes. It's many wonderful things about Lord Shiva.
So the statement is Siboham?
Shivaham.
Yes, sir.
So that means it's representative that when the jiva is free from Maya, his position is like that of Shiva.
It's representation.
Yeah, you can say. Then he can be Shiva. But if you're taking Shiva as a post, sometimes even Narayan takes the position of Indra because no Indra, then he takes that position. So, then in the material world there's posts, but there's also the person, the specific person, Lord Shiva. So it doesn't mean that you or I would become Lord Shiva, but we may attain a position that same as Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva's position is our eternal position. But in the relativity of the material world, it may also be a post, like Lord Brahma's position, like a post. Like Guru Maharaj says, like a prime minister. So something like that. So then the jiva can be Brahma, the jiva can be Shiva, according to their position of their consciousness. But it is very mysterious position. Vaishnava Shrestha, the leader of the Vaishnava, the greatest of the Vaishnavas. In South India, there is Tirupati, Tirupati. So there was in the time of Ramanujacharya, there was a dispute amongst the Vaishnavas and the Shivites. The Shivites are saying that Balaji, Tirupati, is Lord Shiva, not Vishnu. He is Lord Shiva. And the Vaishnavas, they're saying, no, he is Vishnu. So they asked Ramanuja to make a decision. But he understood. They know I'm a devotee of Vishnu. Then if I say it's Vishnu, they'll dismiss it. Well, you're bound to say that, aren't you? So this was his idea, that we'll put the weapons of Lord Shiva in the floor of the temple, and the weapons of Narayan on the floor of the temple, and then we'll close the temple door and lock it for 1 hour. Then when we open it, then we can see by which weapons he's embraced, who is he, like this. So, but they didn't know that Ramanuja, he is an avatar of Anantadev. So, while this was agreed by the Shivites and Vaishnavas, everything, they locked the temple door with the weapons inside. But Ramanuja, he took the form of a serpent and entered into the sewer under the temple and came up into the deity room. There's a grate there or something. He came up through there as a serpent, assumed its human form, and took the weapons of Narayan and placed them in the hands of Balaji, and then again came back out. Then when the hour was up, they opened the doors and they could see he's holding the weapons of Narayan. So someone may say that that's cheating, but if it's Anantadev, then it is not cheating.
You mentioned that if we perform Varnasham Dharma in one of the lifetimes, you can become Brahma.
Yeah.
If it goes better than that, we can become Shiva, it doesn't seem to give much hope to us to enter the spiritual world if we have to go through so much.
You don't have to be Brahma or Shiva to enter the spiritual world.
But, you know, it's like their position is such high, elevated
Yes.
position
Yes.
to get to that. So to actually get some spiritual connection, it seems.
That's because we're thinking that it's a matter of right. By your endeavor, you can come to a certain position, but as if that's like this is my right. There's examples of that, right? Of Vishwamitra Muni. First of all, he wants to be a Brahma Rishi, then he wants to be a Raja Rishi, and like going up and up and up. And he qualifies himself for all these things by performing some kind of mystic yoga. He qualifies, becomes higher and higher and higher. In the stratum of rishis. But that's unimportant, actually. For bhakti, the only important thing is Shraddha. Shraddha is producing bhakti, and not by any austerity or anything like that. If the devotees perform any kind of austerity as part of their devotional service, that is only for trying to invoke the grace of the Lord. So we believe 100, 200% that bhakti is a matter of grace, not a matter of qualification or disqualification, because real devotion is raganuga bhakti. That means loving devotion. So there's sadhana bhakti, by following all the rules and regulations. So like that, you follow the rules and regulations of Varnashram, 100 births, you may attain the position of Lord Brahma. But we're actually interested in raga bhakti, raganuga bhakti. And I say that with a very cautious caveat towards that. The Srila Govinda Maharaj said, raganuga bhakti, very, very suitable for the people of Kali Yuga, because no one can do sadhana, actually. No one can do it. So it means, that this particular sadhana you have to do at this particular time every day, and there are so many like qualifiers that go along with that. And if you don't, then you incur what's called seva aparad, and that you go down because of that. So it's almost better not to attempt that because of our disqualification. In Kali Yuga, everyone is born less than a Shudra. That is told in the scripture. So to say I come from a high family or this or that is actually not really a question, because it is based on justice, and justice means the law. So justice means everything will be divided equally according to the qualification of the plaintiff, if you like. You according to your qualification, you'll get this, and if you're not qualified, you won't get that. You'll get this. So this is very difficult in this Kali age, because nobody can do anything properly in the Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, no Brahmin can even do the fire properly. That's one of the duties of a Brahmin, is to light the sacrificial fire, to engage in the fire jaga. They're meant to do that as a daily thing. A Brahmin's meant to do that daily. But in previous times, the Brahmin didn't need to get a lighter out or a box of matches. He can tell the mantra and the fire will come. No one can do that. Maybe you might find some Brahmin in India that can still do that, and they'll be considered like a god. But previously, any Brahmin can light a fire by mantra, no problem. Anyone. That's like your first thing that they teach you. That anyone can do that. But in Kali Yuga, no one has any tejas, any shakti, any proper qualification. So then, if we go to the door, the justice door, then that means if we say my qualification is this, my family is this, my gotra is this, my this, all of these qualifications. Okay, these are your qualifications. Now we have to look at your disqualifications. And you will have to be judged by that. So, that's how it works, right? On the scale of justice, it works like that. So, in other words, the worst thing that you've ever done in your life, that determines how you're judged. Not by all the other days when you did good. It's that one day when you did something bad. That's how they judge you. When you go to the court, he's been a law-abiding citizen his whole life, but this day he lost it and he killed this man. So we find him guilty of manslaughter. You have to go to prison. But all my other days of my life, I was a law-abiding. It doesn't matter. This is what the law says. So if we go that route, we're bound to be in trouble. If we go to the door of justice, and also if we go saying, I want justice for me, then that means you will also need to be judged by that. So rather, we go to the door of mercy. And we plead for mercy. And Krishna consciousness, real bhakti, only comes by mercy. So in Thailand a few years ago, in Thailand, they have a royal family there. All the kings, they're all called Ram. And they may be not their name, but when they become king, then they're Ram, the whatever, 16th or whatever it is, right? So they consider the king as God. So one year, on the king's birthday, it's a national holiday. And for everyone. Not like here, you have a national holiday, but you can still go to Tesco's. There's nothing open on that day. No bar, no restaurant, no anything. Everyone is on holiday for that day. So one man, tourist man, he was, can't remember if he was Australian or American, but one or the other. He wants to go and buy some beer. But you can't buy beer on the king's birthday. There's no shops open. So he's very angry, and he's cursing the king in the street. Oh, this king, what kind of king? And, maybe swearing something. Curse the king, I can't even get a beer. So there, they take that very seriously. Like here, if you curse King Charles, everyone laughs. Okay, no problem. But there, if you curse the king, you're arrested. And this man was arrested. And the punishment for giving curse to the king is death. He's to be put to death. So it was in the news. It was all in the news all over, in his embassy. They're pleading for clemency, everything. And finally, the king came to the king's attention. He said, this is the law. I may not support that idea that just as someone said something bad about me in the street, he should be put to death. But it is the law. He said, but the king is above the law, and the king can grant mercy. So I set him free as an act of clemency. So then he didn't lose his life, because the king gave clemency, gave mercy. So it's the same idea. We're all running around cursing the Lord, or making some offense to the Lord. Then where will we go? We're due so much punishment for all of the things that we did or didn't do that we should have done in this life. But if we go to the door of mercy and plead, yes, I am very sinful, I am very unqualified, but you are very merciful. You are Dina Bandhu. You are the friend of the fallen. I am Dina. I am a fallen. Then you must give your mercy to me. I heard a recording just recently, Srila Govinda Maharaj. He's saying, he's praying to the Lord. He says, I've done everything from my side. That I am a fallen soul, and I've proven to you again and again and again. And he says, and between you and me, he's saying to the Lord, between you and me, you know I'm never going to worship you. But I've done everything from my side. I can't be more fallen than I am. But from your side, you have to rescue me, because that's what you do. That's your promise. You're merciful to the fallen souls, and I am a fallen soul. Then you have to do your part now, and rescue me by your mercy. So it's true that by our right, by our qualification, by our very birth, we are condemned. But we're not going to that door, the justice door. We're going to the door of mercy. Yes, my Lord, I am a very fallen, very wicked person. But I have no other shelter but you. You have to give your mercy to me. Then, and he may or may not. It's all rights reserved by him. You cannot demand anything. That's the whole thing. But once you've chosen as the supreme goal of life, once you've chosen divine love, then we have nothing else to say. That's what I want, divine love. And only you can give that to me by your sweet will. You cannot demand it as a right. You cannot demand it as, something that belongs to you. It all belongs to him, but he can give that to you. And as Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev, he's come with this proposal for everyone. Yes, come and take this Krishna Prema. Take it. And Nityananda Prabhu, yes, take that. You don't want it, but please you take it. I'll be your slave. So this is Raganuga Bhakti. But with a caveat. Matala Harijana Kirtanarange, Pujala Ragapata Gora Babange. That we are fallen souls. But we worship the Ragapata, the path of divine love. We worship that and we keep that on our head by performing our duty, by Harinam Sankirtan, by trying to invoke that grace upon us from this side. So it's not that we say, oh, I'm Raganuga Bhakta, I don't need to follow any rules or regulations. No, as much as we're able, we must follow that, because we must be sincere in our attempt. We cannot skip. We cannot skip over, So they say, oh, okay, well, I'll just be a sinner my whole life, and then when my time of my death, then I'll remember Krishna. Sometimes people say that, right? They say, oh, I'm young now, I can do all the things that I want to do in life. And when I'm old, then I can think about spiritual life. And we do not know old is coming or not. You can walk out in the street and get knocked over by a bus. And that your old life never came. This is all finished now. Then what will you do? You left it too late. So we should be serious about our life. It doesn't mean that we should be, stoic or something like that, but we should be serious about our spiritual life, because that's all there is, actually. There's nothing in this material world that's worth aspiring for, because you've had it 1,000,000 times already. Everything in this life, you've already had it. Maybe you don't remember, but in another life, you were a king. In another life, you were a prince. In another life you were a millionaire. In another life you were a murderer. In another life you were everything you can conceive of and more. You've already done it. You've already tried it. And you're still not satisfied. In Srimad Bhagavatam it says, when I was an elephant I devoured a whole forest and still my hunger wasn't finished. When I was a hog I devoured a whole field of stool and still I wasn't satisfied. And now I'm a human being. I want this, I want that, I want millions, I want billions, I want so many things, but I'm not satisfied. And this is called Hridrogam. Hridrogam means heart disease. This is heart disease. Never being satisfied with what you have. What you have by the grace of the Lord, be satisfied with that. And always chasing more and more and more and more and more. This is a disease of the heart. What is meant to come to you will come to you. Saraswat Thakur, our Param Guru, he said, there's nothing you can do to bring about your karma. It's coming. There's nothing you can do to make it happen. It's coming. And similarly, there's nothing you can do to prevent it from happening. It's coming. If it's in your destiny that you'll be rich, you'll be this, you'll be that, it's coming. Don't worry about it. And if it's in your destiny that you'll be poor, this, that's also coming. Nothing you can do to change that. So don't waste your life concentrating on those things. They're coming to you anyway. Krishna says in the Gita, Matra sparshas tu kunteya, shito sasukaduka, agama payano nityas tam tatiksha shabarata. That happiness and distress, they're coming to you. No, everyone wants to be happy all the time, of course. But even when you think everything's just going along great, suddenly out of the blue, some terrible thing happens in your life. Shuk and Duk, they're coming to you. So Krishna says to Arjuna, like the winter and the summer seasons. You know, some people like the summer, they don't like the winter. But you can't stop the winter coming. It's coming. So we want to be happy all the time, but some distress is coming in your life. Some suffering is coming to you. Nothing you can do. So what does Krishna say? Just tolerate it. So when something good happens, tolerate it. Don't be carried away by it. And when something bad happens, tolerate it and go on. And utilize your time for cultivating devotion to the Lord, because that doesn't bind us to this material world. In our ordinary life, pap, sin, and punya, they both bind us to this material world. So if someone says, oh, just do punya, just do good things, you know, build hospitals, roads, dig wells, you know, give money to the poor, all these things. If I just do that, then I'll get the best benefit. But that's not actually true, because even if that's all you do, first of all, that you can't just do that, impossible. But even if you were able to do all that, you'd still have to be born again to enjoy the result of that. So that's another thing that binds you to this material world. Good and bad, it's all bad ultimately. But if Srila Govinda Maharaj would say, if you merge your account with Krishna's account, then good or bad, that all goes to him, and you're situated in the transcendental plane. Try to merge your account with Krishna's account. Then no worry about pap or punya or either. You can just go to Krishna. That's what he says, right? Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tam sarva papebhyo moksha yishami ma shucha. So Guru Maharaj said, this is the clarion call, Krishna's clarion call. Whatever I've told you so far, Arjuna, about dharma, about duty, about religion, about all these things, now you can just forget that and just surrender to me. Because if you surrender to me, you'll come to me. And don't worry about, the good or bad of this world. And don't think if I leave behind my duty in this world that I'll be overcome by sin. Because there is sin. If you have some duty in this world, some responsibility in this world, and you just run away from it, then sin will catch you up for that. But if you're not running away from it, but you're running to Krishna, to embrace the service of Krishna, then Krishna will absolve you all of that. And this is his promise. Do not fear. Krishna says, do not fear. I will protect you. Do not fear. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaro mami vaishyasi satyam te pratijani priyoshime. Just do everything as an offering to me. Give your heart, your mind to me. Become my devotee. And you will come to me. You'll come to me. And you can believe me, Arjuna. Krishna says, you can believe me because you are priyoshime. You are dear to me. So someone will say, oh, that's very well. That's very good. We know Arjun's dear to Krishna, but what about us? But in the context of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is our representative. He's our proxy. When Krishna speaks to him, he's speaking to us. Otherwise, what's the point of there being so many copies of the Bhagavad Gita for us to hear from? If it's just for Arjuna, no, it's for everyone. It's for all of us. Arjuna is us in this scenario. So when Krishna says, you are priyoshime, you are dear to me, he's talking to you and I. You are dear to me, and you can believe what I say, Arjuna. If you can't believe me, who can you believe? So, very simple. And Srila Maharaj says, no other scripture in the world does the Lord so, you can say, blatantly plead for his own position. I am the Lord of everything, but I am your friend. I am favorable to you. I want the best for you. This is the wonderful Bhagavad Gita. So some things like the Shiva Tapa, we can only understand to a particular degree as the Lord allows us.
Also Lord Shiva became a Hanumanji to serve Lord Ram.
Yes. It always connected with him. Murari Gupta, yes. That's right. Our god brother, Haricharan Prabhu, he was like senior brahmachari of our mission at that time. Senior means, was one of the first to come to Guru Maharaj. Before him, actually, was Krishna Sharan, who later became Bhakti Prasanna Ranya Maharaj. But they were around the same time. So Haricharan Prabhu is always there in the time of Guru Maharaj. And so one day he got this idea. He told to Govinda Maharaj, who was also there, brahmachari then. He said, I never finished my education. He told Govinda Maharaj. And, okay. He said, then I was studying to be a MA in whatever it was. So he said, I'm thinking I'll go back to the university and get my qualification at MA. Then when I go preaching, it'll be Haricharan MA. Everyone will take so much more notice of me. He was thinking like this. Then he said, Govinda Maharaj said to him, and have you discussed this with Guru Maharaj? He said, no. He said, maybe we should go and talk with Guru Maharaj about this before you decide what you're going to do. Okay, so they went up to see Guru Maharaj, and Haricharan Prabhu put his proposal to Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj said, don't you realize the school in which you're already studying? You want to go back and get an MA, some mundane qualification, but you're already studying in the same school as Mahadev, Brahma, Shukadev. They're your classmates. This is the school that you're studying in. What is MA compared with that? Then Harichran Prabhu thought better of it and remained to serve Guru Maharaj. So, all these things, you know. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, we have published over 50 books. This time, there's more now, but at that time. Published over 50 books of Guru Maharaj, like these books here, he said. And I'm not giving one to review, you know, to the like literary society or book reviewer, you know. I'm not giving one. And why? Because if they make some criticism of Guru Maharaj, I cannot tolerate. So we do not care their proclamation, it's good or bad. We don't care for that. Cannot tolerate that. They have no qualification to be able to, you know, give a good or bad review of Guru Maharaj. So it is the path of devotion. It is transcendental. It is looking like the same as what everyone else is doing, but it is completely different. Guru Maharaj would say, superficial or external similarity, but categorical difference. This is difficult to understand. When brother of Professor Sanyal, he came to stay with him in the temple, and he said, what do you do here all day, you know? He says, nothing you could understand. And he says, well, that's not true, is it? Because I see you taking sabji, rice, chapati, like all that, you know. And he said, no, we don't do that. He said, oh, with my own eyes, I've seen you do that. And he said, no, what you're talking about is completely different to what we are honoring Krishna Prasadam. And you are consuming food. It looks the same externally, but it's completely different. Because there is no spirit of consumption in the devotee. They're not thinking of consuming. They're only honoring the spiritual. So, and that, essentially, that's the meaning of that verse. Matala Harijana Kirtanarangi Pujala Ragapatagora Babange. That we honor those higher spiritual things and carry on with our life connected with that. So all these things, they're okay, but once they're connected with Krishna, then instead of binding you to the material world, they actually free you from the material world. They have the complete opposite effect. Everything by connection with Krishna, because that is the only difference between matter and spirit, actually. When matter, we're thinking this table is matter, the glass window is matter, and you know, and Krishna is spiritual. And oh yes, that's true. But once this table is utilized for the service of Krishna, it is not material, it's spiritual. You drive your car to the nightclub, that's material. But you drive your car to the mandir to come and see the deity of Krishna and to serve and worship Krishna, then your car is a spiritual car, even if only for that time. It's not about what it's made of, it's about how it's utilized. And that's the same in consciousness, that we all do the same things. But what is the consciousness behind that? That determines whether it's spiritual or whether it's material. If it's done with a mood of exploiting, a mood of self promotion or self fulfillment, then that's material. But if it's done in the mood of honor and sacrifice and love towards Krishna, then it's the very same thing, spiritual. And this is Sridhar Maharaj's one of his reoccurring themes in his teaching, is that everything is about consciousness. Everything is happening within consciousness. So in that way, if we are able to properly understand and perceive that, then nothing is material, everything is spiritual. All right, so any other? I don't know if that answered your question, but actually we can't really answer the question about Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is Lord Shiva. Then his very name, Shiva, means auspicious. Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu. Vaishnava Shrestha. It came from the temple of Lord Shiva. This proclamation came from there when they're discussing the meaning of the Bhagavatam. This proclamation was heard from there. Aham vedmi shuka veti vyasa veti na vetiva. This is Lord Shiva saying, I know the meaning of the Veda. And Shukadev, he knows the meaning of the Veda. Vyas, he may or may not know the meaning of the Veda. How are we to understand that? That the person who is compiling the Veda, the person who's presenting the Veda, may or may not know the meaning of it. We can only understand it this way, that when Mahaprabhu was instructing Sanatana Goswami, he said, what is coming from me to bless you, that is Krishna. I may not even understand what it is I'm saying to you, but Krishna is utilizing me as the vehicle to bless you. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes that divine current comes, without knowledge, without any bidding. It comes. We heard, we were at this house one time in Calcutta, and we heard from Guru Maharaj that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had given a lecture in that house, and Guru Maharaj was attending that lecture. After the lecture was finished, Guru Maharaj said some extraordinary things he was talking from there. And he said, and I want to find a pen and a paper to write it down. Couldn't find one anywhere. Then afterwards, Saraswati Thakur said, oh, did you write down what I said? And Guru Maharaj said, no, Maharaj, I didn't. And then he said, oh, then you are a Gobar Ganesh. You are Gobar Ganesh. That means, Ganesh is meant to write the Veda, but sometimes they're making a Ganesh out of cow dung for puja. Said, so that's no better than the Gobar Ganesh, just made out of cow dung. So because some new things came from that in that talk, and I don't know if I can remember them, I wanted to be able to look and say what I said, because I don't know what I said. This happens sometimes, that divine flow. The person who's even giving that doesn't know what's happening. His assistant, Saraswati Thakur's assistant, Guru Maharaj said, when in the morning he would say, okay, today we're going to Haridwar or somewhere. And he said that his assistant would have to go and arrange a place to stay, food, accommodation, travel, everything. And one day he said, Guru Maharaj, can't you just give me a day's notice beforehand, so I can make the proper arrangements? Just tell me in the morning, and I have to run, and it's very difficult for me. And Saraswati Thakur said, yes, Prabhu, I understand, but how can I tell you a day in advance when only this morning Krishna told me? So, this is the divine flow of, it comes when it comes. And through whom it comes, also we do not know. Hare Krishna. So we can So is he ready? Our Dayanidhi Prabhu is here. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai, Rupanuga Guru Bhargya Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Shri Krishna Kirtan Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi